All right, Geff. So I'm looking at your file, and the first thing that caught my eye was the fact that you mirrored it with the manifold mesh, which is good, but you mirrored it as if it were a quadrant. So it's a quadrant being mirrored. So if we scroll through it, you can see that we do all our booleans, and then it's being mirrored over right here. So if we look at this phase, you can see these lines down the middle, which are indicative of a interior face being created. So this isn't really an object. It's like four objects that are being put together and then welded, and then all of these faces on the inside are either flipped normals or not flipped normals, depending on how the weld goes through. But I've never trusted Mirror to do this sort of mirroring. So just to show it off on the side, if we have this cube and we were to mirror it using modifier, this is a manifold cube, and these are our quadrants, right? So if we mirror this over, then this area here is still the active area. Blender evaluates this as an entire mesh, but really, it's being bisected and mirrored, but no interior face. And so that's what the modifier part of things. The bisect is more of a classic type mirroring system, not recommended for any sort of Boolean operations unless you absolutely are aware that this thing is splitting your mesh, putting a hole in it, etc. And then symmetry, which is just one and done. Not going to do anything in this case because we're dealing with modifiers, but just to kind of show this modifier mirroring in a nutshell. So now we've mirrored it two ways. So I could take this edge, bevel it, and even though it's allowing me to work on just one corner, it's propagating it to all four sides. And so, that's the first type of mirror. In your situation, you're doing like a multi-axial mirror. So like, you're working an area like this. So you can also mirror things by, say, inserting an empty. Right here, we'll just put in a sphere. And we'll select the object, select the empty, and we're just going to mirror it on this axis. And as we rotate it, it will allow us to get our center back. Except we mirrored it incorrectly. So if we select this object, I actually want to flip on the Y. Maybe I don't. Alright, so we'll select this object, select the empty, and we'll mirror it again. So now it's mirrored to the other side. And then if we mess with the flip Y, still isn't working. Alright, so this is just going to make a fool of me. And here we go. So now we're mirroring on both the Z and the Y. For some reason the Y doesn't appear to be working. So there could be something happening there. But case in point, working this way isn't absolutely necessary. So by mirroring it in its entirety and just dealing with each section as a quadrant kind of mentally, it will make it a lot easier than having this big interior face, which is going to have issues with slice, laser cut, and all sorts of different tools. So that's the first thing I wanted to point out before I got to the workflow part of things.